What's going on, guys? Really quickly, I just wanted to give you guys some backstory on this video, or this audio rather. I did this last Friday, and it was before I got my podcast up, so you might hear me reference things just a little out of order, but I didn't want to just not post it. There's some good information in here, kind of a good just perspective on things, a different perspective on things, maybe shedding some light on things that people don't really notice or look at. But yeah, thought it would be useful. Wanted to get something up. These car videos are, they're very useful for me because I can crank out a video while I'm driving somewhere. So hopefully you guys are able to take something away from the video. And with that being said, here we go. What's going on, guys? Joey Franzo here with Flex Training Systems. It is Friday night. I'm driving home, and it is becoming increasingly more difficult for me to find time to make these. But I'm going to do my best to kind of crank them out when I can. That didn't sound right. But we should have a podcast coming up real soon. Today I'm going to be talking about not chasing, and there's a lot of different things that kind of go into that. And then kind of to build off my last post about social media and powerlifting, I just wanted to talk about, basically tying into chasing. So we see things on social media and we try to keep up with that person, or maybe what a competitor does can affect us positively or negatively depending on the type of lifter that you are. But at the same time, when we see things on social media, we don't have the whole story. We only see what people put up. We don't have any context. And a lot of times what we are seeing and the judgments that people can sometimes make, they're incorrect. They just don't have all the details to even speak on it. Oftentimes when, somebody makes like a blatant statement regarding a lifter or a lift or anything related to this practice or anything at all, really, I in the past may have engaged with this person or just gone on, forever in a thread, just trying to explain something to them. But now it's like this person doesn't have the whole picture. They don't know exactly what's going on. They're only seeing, what's on social media. So for them to make a claim or to, put out whatever, say whatever they're saying, it's just wrong. They just don't know. They don't have enough information to even make that statement. That's why, like now, for example, whenever I see a peer, a fellow coach or anyone do something that on the surface looks questionable, I don't even judge. I don't even pay attention to any of it because I don't have the whole story. You always want to give someone the benefit of the doubt. Oftentimes when it comes to injury, let's say you see a lifter that's injured, and they post about their injury or this is a whole nother video, but there's, just negative talk. They just talk really negative about themselves all the time. They kind of make it seem a lot worse than it is. That's the thing. We don't have all the context. I know that I've had a lifter in the past just constantly talk negative about things. And it's not a bad look, and people are going to assume things, but they don't actually know what's going on. They don't have any backstory. They don't have any context, and they don't know what I know. So there's, I don't need to explain things to that person unless it gets out of hand. Obviously if you have, somebody with 1 million followers and you know that their followers are going to overlap with yours, putting on stupid shit, then you might need to come in and address it. But, for the most part, you don't really want to judge or worry too much about what other people are doing. This all goes back to not chasing numbers, If you see a competitor lifting a lift that and you want to try to one up them, first off, you hitting more than somebody else in training doesn't necessarily mean you're going to hit more than them on the platform. There's a lot of lifters that lift more than me during training, but I lift more than them on the day. Because the weights that they lift, and it does not even, I don't even think for it to bother me. It doesn't faze me one bit, and that's something that I hope to pass down, to my lifters. You can't worry about what your competitors are lifting. You need to stay in the pocket. Oh boy, you guys hear me say that a lot. Stay in the pocket, stay in your lane, and just work, focus on you and get better. Don't really worry about what other people are doing. Save your energy and focus on the important things. For those of you that work with me, you know that I try to keep things as simple as possible. We only focus on, stuff that matters. So that way we can, use our energy on just making sure that each training session is on point and that we're recovering, we're sleeping, we're taking care of ourselves. We don't have to deal with any of the any of the other BS. You don't want to be wasting energy on shit that doesn't matter. As you get older, as you become more successful in whatever it is that you're doing, you start to realize what does and doesn't matter, and you don't really care about other shit that's going on. Today, this is like, God, I keep referencing like things that are just completely outside of powerlifting. But today I was listening to just people on the radio talk about. They're on the radio, but I think it was on YouTube. I just saw something and I clicked it about this whole Tyrese situation, and they're saying, he's on here crying about how he can't see his family. Or his daughter or whatever, and then he's in like Kuwait or Dubai or some shit, when his baby mama was like, come see her or something, and they're just talking so bad about him and judging him, and it's like, I don't have all the details, none of us have all the details, but for them to say those things and bash them, especially when they have a large platform to bash him, who knows if he had an obligation that he couldn't get out of. Nobody knows for sure exactly what he's going through. So to be able to make those statements, I think it's incorrect. People assume things. It's just like humans, like we're just really shitty. Like human people are just fucking shit. We want to believe a certain thing. So we'll only look at information that will, reaffirm whatever it is that we think to be true. When, you could get into a debate with a vegan about what's more efficient or what's better. There's going to be a ton of information saying veganism is better than eating meat, and vice versa, that, eating meat is not, or eating meat is better than being vegan. You just have to trial and error, find out, what works. If you have a coach, trust in your coach, believe in what they're having you do, and ride the wave. And if your coach is competent, you guys will figure it out. I mentioned Charlie Dixon, who competed against Sean. We competed against him many times, and he's always had trouble with his weight cut. And it took literally years, I think 2-3 years of us, of him just going back and forth, with Sean. And this last Charlie was a different Charlie than we had ever seen, but it took a long time to get there. A lot of him being unhappy with his performances, and I know he's an overachiever. I know he wants to win every time. Anytime that you don't win, you're going to want to do better. You're going to want to improve. I don't want to speak for him, but, if you look at his 2016 performance, he only got one squat, and he had issues with grip on deadlift. His hand tore, and then the weight cut killed him. This time that didn't happen. He had a great meet. He hit all his squats, all his benches, and only missed one deadlift, I believe. And it didn't look like the cut messed him up. It took a long time to get there. Just as, I'm trying to think, with my guys, if that's happened to people where we just couldn't get it. I use Tina as an example. In the beginning, she was kind of like competing way too frequently and just doing whatever meet that I would do, even though she had her own meets. And then she kind of just got really frustrated and was really aggressive on attempts and, you know, chasing numbers and pushing for things and missing, going like 4 for 9 at meets, and it was really bad. And then there was just one turning point where I said, you know, this is never going to happen again, or I'm not going to waste my time, you know, putting all my effort into your training. For those of you, I mean, nobody knows this. This is a little interesting fact. For Tina's final 2 weeks leading into nationals, I literally spent 2 hours. I remember exactly where I was. I was on a laptop at Tina's sister's house with my headset in, listening to fucking a new Young Dolph album. I was sitting there and I was just like going over past training blocks, current training blocks, and making sure every little thing is as optimal as I want it to be. This is what happens during nationals time. I need to make sure that, you know, people are on point, and it takes me a lot of time. But Tina in particular, because she is such an adaptive lifter, and you know, she needs to train very, very frequently. It's not her training is like so unconventional to what I have like 99% of my other lifters doing. You know, and it's tedious, and it's very, you know, like if I fuck up, it's going to make a big result, because these smaller lifters are very sensitive to anything you throw at them. But I got it done, and she had the best meet of her life, and I'm completely satisfied with the result, you know, and we're just going to build on it. And that's the type of shit that, you know, people don't know. People don't know. Some people might be seeing Tina's performance and just think, you know, they don't know what went into that. Nobody's with you in the gym shooting. You know what I mean? There's a lot that goes into a meet day performance. I would know, dealing with all these peeps. But I love it, and I think this is what I was meant to do. But yeah, guys, I mean, I fucking kind of went off there on a couple different things. But I wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted to leave you guys with something, just because I haven't been able to, you know, be as frequent on the tubes, and I still think there's valuable things there or in here. But yeah, alrighty, guys, thank you so much for sticking to the end. If you did, let me get a don't chase and or keep it moving in the bottom comments below, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.